In the grim darkness of the far future, the universe is a place of ceaseless war, untold horrors, and unfathomable mysteries. Among these enigmas, one looms larger than any other, both figuratively and literally: the Eye of Terror. This sprawling, gaping maw of unreality is the largest warp rift in the galaxy, a place where the Immaterium and reality collide, bleed together, and violently intertwine. Its vast expanse is a churning tempest of psychic storms, demonic entities, and shattered remnants of worlds that dared to draw too close. To many, the Eye of Terror is a place of death, madness, and eternal torment. To others, it is a sanctuary, a place where rebellion against the Imperium is not only possible, but thrives. For 10 millennia, this colossal warp storm has stood as both a beacon and a blight, an unholy scar etched across the Immaterium. It is here that the forces of chaos gather in strength, marshalling their endless legions for devastating incursions into real space. The Eye of Terror is the seat of their power, a nexus of unbridled destruction and malevolence. Yet, its origins and true nature remain shrouded in layers of myth, secrecy, and dread. To fully understand the Eye of Terror is to peer into the soul of the galaxy itself, a soul that is fractured, turbulent, and fundamentally corrupt. But what is the Eye of Terror? Is it merely a geographical anomaly, a scar in the fabric of reality wrought by ancient cataclysms? Or is it a sentient entity, a malevolent force that hungers for the ruination of all that is pure and stable? The answers lie buried in millennia of history, in the stories of doomed empires, ambitious warlords, and the gods themselves. To comprehend its nature is to trace the threads of a tale that stretches back to the very dawn of galactic civilization. The origins of the Eye of Terror are tied intrinsically to the rise and fall of the Eldari, the ancient and once dominant Xenos race that reigned supreme over the stars. Their hedonistic excesses and hubris unleashed the catastrophe that birthed this terrible phenomenon. Yet, the Eye is not merely an artifact of their sins. It is a living wound that has grown, evolved, and adapted over the ages, becoming the crucible for humanity's greatest trials and its darkest nightmares. For the Imperium of man, the Eye of Terror is an ever-present threat. It serves as a grim reminder of the cost of hubris and the fragility of reality itself. Its existence has shaped imperial policy, strategy, and ideology, serving as the ultimate justification for the Emperor's unyielding vision of order. The Great Crusade sought to contain the ripple effects of this anomaly, yet it was the Horus heresy that truly cemented the Eye's place in the galactic consciousness. It was here, within the writhing expanse of this warp storm, that the traitorous forces of Horus found refuge after their defeat, transforming the Eye into a fortress for the Chaos Gods and their mortal champions. The Eye of Terror is more than a place. It is a state of being, a microcosm of the unbridled chaos that lurks beneath the surface of the galaxy. Within its swirling depths, the laws of physics are rendered meaningless, time flows erratically, and every corner is haunted by nightmares given form. For those who enter, survival is often a matter of sheer will, faith, or madness. Yet for some, the Eye is a source of power, a realm where ambition can transcend the boundaries of mortality. In this exploration, we will unravel the mysteries of the Eye of Terror, delving into its key players, its ancient origins, and the cataclysms it has wrought. From the rise of the Chaos Gods to the ceaseless conflicts that rage within and without, we will uncover the truths and terrors that define this galactic anomaly. Let us journey together into the heart of darkness, where reality ends and chaos reigns supreme. Welcome to the Eye of Terror. The Eye of Terror's origins are inseparably entwined with the ancient history of the galaxy, stretching back to an era when the stars were ruled not by humanity, but by the enigmatic and powerful Eldari. For millennia, their vast empire was unrivaled, a glittering civilization built on psychic mastery, technological brilliance, and cultural sophistication. Yet, this golden age harbored a shadow, a festering rot that would eventually consume them and tear the galaxy apart. Long before the Eye of Terror erupted into being, the Eldari began their descent into decadence. Their mastery over the warp, an ethereal realm of pure energy and psychic potential, allowed them to bend reality to their will. But with such mastery came temptation. Over countless millennia, the Eldari indulged in excesses, both physical and psychic, without restraint or consequence. What began as artistic expression and hedonistic pursuits spiraled into depravity and nihilism. They abandoned humility, believing themselves untouchable, their every whim answered by their godlike power. The Immaterium, always sensitive to emotion and thought, began to mirror this decay. The warp, a realm of pure potential, had long been shaped by the dreams and fears of living beings. As the Eldari's culture became increasingly corrupt, the warp responded in kind. This growing feedback loop between the Eldari's indulgences and the Immaterium birthed a vast storm of psychic energy, intensifying with every passing century. The final collapse came not in a sudden act of violence, but through the slow, inevitable accumulation of their collective sins. As their psychic excesses grew, so too did the presence of demonic entities within the warp. These manifestations, hungry and insidious, began to coalesce into a single, overwhelming force. At the heart of the warp, a new god was forming, an entity born of the Eldari's unchecked desires, a dark mirror of their once noble aspirations. This new god, known now as Slaanesh, was the embodiment of excess, indulgence, and despair. When the psychic energy that had been building for eons finally reached its breaking point, it unleashed an apocalyptic shockwave that tore through both the Immaterium and real space. This catastrophic event is known as the birth of Slaanesh, and it marked the end of the Eldari's golden age. The moment of Slaanesh's awakening was unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. Billions of Eldari souls were consumed in an instant, ripped from their mortal forms and devoured by the newborn god. Worlds once teeming with life became lifeless husks, their inhabitants annihilated. The psychic scream of Slaanesh's birth echoed across the warp, disrupting the very fabric of reality. At the heart of this psychic maelstrom, real space and the Immaterium fused together, creating a permanent rift where the boundaries between these dimensions ceased to exist. This was the birth of the Eye of Terror, a wound in the galaxy so vast and malignant that its effects could be felt for millennia. The Eldari homeworlds, once the crown jewels of their empire, were swallowed by the warp storm, becoming twisted, hellish realms where demons ruled supreme. Yet the devastation extended far beyond the Eldari. The birth of the Eye of Terror sent shockwaves through the entire galaxy, destabilizing warp travel and plunging countless civilizations into chaos. Stars died, planets were lost to the warp, and entire fleets vanished without a trace. The Eye became a beacon of terror, a harbinger of destruction for any who dared approach. But even in its creation, the Eye of Terror did not merely destroy, it transformed. Within its borders, the laws of reality twisted and fractured, creating a region where time, space, and reason operated according to the whims of chaos. For the Eldari, it was the ultimate punishment, a dark legacy of their hubris and failure. For others, it was a warning, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the terrible power of the warp. From this cataclysm, the galaxy was forever changed. The Eldari, once ascendant, became a broken people, scattered and diminished. Their remnants, whether on craft worlds, in the depths of the webway, or among the dark denizens of Comera, could only look upon the Eye of Terror as a monument to their greatest folly. For humanity and other rising powers, it became a cautionary tale, a symbol of the warp's destructive potential and a constant threat lurking at the heart of the galaxy. Thus, the Eye of Terror was born, not through conquest or natural disaster, but through the boundless arrogance and excess of a species that believed itself invincible. It remains a wound in the galaxy, a living testament to the power of the Immaterium and the fragile nature of reality itself. The Eye of Terror is a paradoxical entity, both a location and an event, a rift in the galaxy that defies comprehension. It is a region where the laws of physics unravel, where the Immaterium and the material universe fuse into a singular chaotic expanse. For the Imperium of man, it is not merely a geographical anomaly. It is an enduring symbol of the dangers inherent in the warp and a manifestation of the galaxy's most ancient and terrifying forces. To those who serve the Emperor, the Eye of Terror is a wound in reality, one that bleeds corruption and threatens the stability of all creation. In its most basic understanding, the Eye of Terror is a warp storm of unprecedented size and intensity. Warp storms are not uncommon in the galaxy. They are disruptions in the Immaterium caused by fluctuations in psychic energy or by catastrophic events in real space. However, the Eye is unique in both its scale and permanence. Unlike typical storms, which wax and wane over centuries or millennia, the Eye has remained active and stable for over 10,000 years. It is vast, stretching across a significant portion of the galaxy, and its presence warps the surrounding stars, altering their light and casting an eerie glow across nearby systems. The nature of the Eye, however, is far more complex than its physical attributes suggest. It is not simply a storm, but a convergence point where the Immaterium spills into real space. Within its borders, time flows erratically, sometimes moving at a crawl, other times accelerating uncontrollably. Space itself is fragmented, with entire planets existing as isolated pockets of reality surrounded by the roiling energies of the warp. For the Imperium, understanding the Eye's true nature is a near impossible task. The Mechanicus has sent countless explorator fleets into its depths, but few have returned, and those that do bring back fragments of data too inconsistent and contradictory to form a coherent picture. The Eye's origins and purpose are the subject of intense speculation within the Imperium. While its birth during the fall of the Eldari is well documented by scholars of Xenos history, the Imperium's interpretation of the Eye is heavily influenced by its religious and mythological worldview. For the ecclesiarchy and its adherents, the Eye is nothing less than a physical manifestation of humanity's greatest enemy, chaos. To them, it is a gateway to hell itself, a place where the four ruinous powers hold dominion and their demonic servants reside. Imperial theologians often describe the Eye using apocalyptic imagery, portraying it as the maw of the gods or the void wound. They teach that the Eye is a reminder of humanity's need for vigilance and purity, a symbol of the Emperor's eternal struggle against the forces of darkness. It is said that the Emperor himself once gazed into the depths of the Eye during the Great Crusade and declared it to be the prison of mankind's most ancient and implacable foes. This statement has fueled countless myths about the Eye's true purpose, with some believing it to be the battleground for an ongoing war between the Emperor's spirit and the Chaos Gods. Among the more esoteric branches of imperial thought, particularly within the ranks of the Ordo Malleus and the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, the Eye is theorized to be a nexus of psychic energy, a focal point where the collective emotions and thoughts of the galaxy are amplified and given form. This perspective aligns with the notion that the warp itself is shaped by the minds of living beings, and that the Eye represents the consequences of unrestrained psychic activity. To these scholars, the Eye is not merely a result of the Eldari's sins, but a warning of what could happen should humanity lose control of its own psychic potential. There are also whispers, hushed and forbidden, of a deeper, more sinister purpose behind the Eye. Some among the Imperium's most secretive orders speculate that the Eye may be a mechanism, a construct of unimaginable power created by the Chaos Gods themselves. They theorize that it serves as a breeding ground for their armies, a place where demons can gather and plot their incursions into real space. Others suggest that the eye is a trap, designed to lure the unwary into its depths and consume their souls, feeding the insatiable hunger of the warp. The Eye of Terror has also become the source of numerous myths and legends among the common citizens of the Imperium. Tales of ships that venture too close and are swallowed whole, of spectral figures appearing in the night sky near its borders, and of whispers carried on. The void winds are widespread. Some claim that the Eye is a cursed place, where the sins of the past are replayed endlessly, while others believe it to be a testing ground for the Emperor's faithful, a place where only the pure of heart can survive. Whatever the truth, the Eye of Terror remains an enigma. For every answer it provides, it raises a dozen more questions. It is a reminder of the galaxy's unfathomable vastness and complexity, a place where the line between myth and reality blurs. To the Imperium, the Eye is not just a physical wound in the fabric of space, it is a spiritual and existential threat, a symbol of the war that rages not only across the stars, but within the hearts of all living beings. And though the Imperium may strive to understand it, to contain it, the Eye remains beyond comprehension, a perpetual reminder of humanity's fragile place in a hostile universe. The human understanding of the Eye of Terror has evolved over millennia, shaped by mythology, war, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge amidst the galaxy's perils. Humanity's initial encounters with this enigmatic anomaly were fleeting and poorly understood, seen through the eyes of primitive explorers and early settlers. Over time, these fragmented glimpses solidified into a narrative that combined superstition, religion, and empirical observation, eventually forming the foundation of imperial thought on the Eye. In the earliest days of human expansion, during the age of technology, the warp was known as a vital tool for interstellar travel. Navigators guided vast fleets through the Immaterium, their specialized abilities allowing them to perceive safe routes amidst the warp's ever-shifting chaos. The Eye of Terror, even then, stood out as a place of immense danger, an impassable region where the Immaterium spilled violently into real space. While warp storms were common hazards for early human fleets, the Eye was unparalleled in scale and intensity, its boundaries radiating an aura of dread that discouraged exploration. During the Dark Age of technology, humanity's burgeoning empire encountered hints of the Eye's true nature. Early exploratory missions into the region reported phenomena that defied natural laws, ships vanishing without a trace, time dilation effects, and the appearance of haunting visions among crews. Despite humanity's technological sophistication, these occurrences were beyond explanation, and the Eye was classified as a forbidden zone. Records from this era suggest that early human societies perceived the Eye not as a warp storm but as a living entity, an unknowable force to be avoided at all costs. As the age of strife descended upon humanity, plunging the galaxy into chaos and isolating worlds from one another, knowledge of the Eye of Terror became fragmented. The collapse of centralized authority meant that myths and superstitions flourished in the vacuum of scientific understanding. Isolated human worlds near the Eye began to craft their own legends about the phenomenon, often attributing it to divine wrath or the actions of malevolent spirits. These stories varied widely, reflecting the cultural and spiritual diversity of humanity during this fractured era. Some saw the Eye as a portal to the afterlife, while others feared it as a harbinger of the end times. The arrival of the Emperor and the unification of Terra marked the beginning of humanity's systematic attempt to comprehend the Eye of Terror. During the Great Crusade, efforts were made to recover ancient knowledge and catalog the galaxy's many phenomena, including the Eye. Imperial expeditions ventured into its fringes, documenting the terrifying effects of proximity to its borders. These missions revealed the presence of corrupted worlds and hostile forces, leading to the conclusion that the Eye was not only a natural phenomenon, but also a staging ground for inimical powers. Imperial scholars, guided by the Emperor's vision, sought to place the Eye within a broader cosmological framework. They began to associate the Eye with the warp and its inherent dangers, identifying it as a focal point of psychic activity. However, this understanding was limited, as even the most advanced minds of the Imperium could not fully grasp the warp's complexities. Early theories proposed that the Eye was a wound in reality, caused by a catastrophic event in the distant past. This interpretation aligned with fragmentary records of the Aldari's collapse, hinting at a connection between the two. The Horus heresy dramatically altered humanity's perception of the Eye of Terror. During this apocalyptic conflict, the forces of chaos revealed themselves in their full, horrifying power, using the Eye as their sanctuary and base of operations. The heresy not only exposed the existence of the Chaos Gods, but also demonstrated the extent to which the Eye served as their domain. This revelation reshaped Imperial doctrine, solidifying the Eye's role as the primary symbol of chaos and its threat to humanity. The heresy also brought first-hand accounts of the Eye's interior, as traitor forces retreated into its depths and described its nightmarish landscapes and demonic inhabitants. In the aftermath of the heresy, the Imperium's attitude toward the Eye became one of unrelenting vigilance and fear. The ecclesiarchy declared the Eye a manifestation of divine punishment, warning the faithful that it was a gateway to eternal damnation. Meanwhile, the Inquisition and other secretive organizations delved deeper into its mysteries, seeking to understand its connection to the warp and the entities that dwelled within. The Eye became a central focus of Imperial mythology, its image immortalized in sermons, artwork, and propaganda. The age of apostasy and subsequent millennia of conflict only reinforced the Eye's reputation as the ultimate embodiment of chaos. With each incursion launched from its borders, the Imperium's understanding of the Eye grew more defined, yet no less horrifying. The rise of the Black Legion and other chaos-aligned forces originating from the Eye underscored its role as a breeding ground for rebellion and heresy. Imperial scholars classified it as a warp rift of unparalleled magnitude, while religious authorities emphasized its spiritual significance as a test of humanity's resolve and purity. In modern times, the Eye of Terror remains a subject of both fear and study. The boundaries of the Eye are closely monitored by the Imperium's vast network of fortresses and fleets, ensuring that no chaos incursion goes unchecked. Yet, despite this vigilance, the Eye continues to confound Imperial understanding. Every attempt to map its interior or uncover its secrets ends in failure or madness, leaving the Imperium with only fragments of insight. Humanity's evolving perception of the Eye reflects its enduring struggle to balance reason and faith in the face of the unknown. It has been viewed as a natural phenomenon, a divine punishment, and a realm of eternal war, each interpretation shaped by the context of the age. Yet, throughout these shifting perspectives, one truth remains constant. The Eye of Terror is a reminder of the galaxy's fragility, a testament to the dangers of hubris, and a symbol of the unending battle between order and chaos. For humanity, the Eye is both a challenge and a curse, a wound that refuses to heal, and a shadow that looms over the Imperium's every endeavor. One of the most pivotal events associated with the Eye of Terror is the 13th Black Crusade, a cataclysmic campaign that reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy. This moment in history, instigated by the infamous Abaddon the Despoiler, was not merely another assault by the forces of chaos, but a culmination of millennia of preparation, manipulation, and unholy ambition. The 13th Black Crusade brought the Eye of Terror to the forefront of galactic warfare, turning it from a brooding threat into an active force of devastation. The seeds of the 13th Black Crusade were sown long before its eruption. Abaddon, the chosen warlord of chaos, had waged 12 prior Black Crusades, each one probing the defenses of the Imperium and serving a purpose far greater than mere destruction. These earlier campaigns, though seemingly disparate, had been part of a grand design. They weakened key Imperial positions, secured vital resources, and prepared the warp corridors leading from the Eye of Terror to the heart of Imperial space. Abaddon's genius lay in his ability to disguise these long-term goals within the chaos of war, keeping the Imperium focused on immediate threats rather than the overarching strategy. The Eye of Terror, the stronghold of chaos, was the staging ground for this ultimate campaign. Within its swirling depths, Abaddon gathered his forces, an unholy coalition of Chaos Space Marines, demonic legions, and traitor armies, each bound to his will by fear or devotion to the Chaos Gods. The vast armada that emerged from the Eye during the opening moments of the 13th Black Crusade was unlike any seen in millennia, a testament to the power and ambition of chaos. From ancient, warp-tainted battleships to the living vessels birthed by the Immaterium, this fleet embodied the raw, destructive potential of the Eye. The crusade began with a brutal assault on Cadia, the fortress world that had long served as the linchpin of the Cadian Gate, the primary route between the Eye of Terror and the wider galaxy. Cadia's defenses were legendary, its soldiers among the finest the Imperium could muster. Yet, the forces of chaos struck with unprecedented ferocity, unleashing a wave of destruction that shattered planetary defenses and plunged the system into chaos. Warp storms erupted across the sector, disrupting reinforcements and communications, while demonic incursions tore through the fabric of reality, sowing terror among the defenders. At the heart of this assault was the Planet Killer, a colossal weapon of mass destruction commanded by Abaddon himself. This ancient and terrifying vessel epitomized the ruthlessness of chaos, its vast armament capable of obliterating entire worlds. Alongside it came the Blackstone fortresses, arcane constructs of unimaginable power that Abaddon had painstakingly acquired during his previous campaigns. These fortresses, guided by warp sorcery and the unholy energies of the Eye, became the spearhead of Chaos's assault, their destructive potential unmatched by any Imperial weapon. As the war for Cadia raged, the true nature of Abaddon's plan began to reveal itself. The destruction of Cadia was not merely an act of vengeance or conquest, but a calculated move to destabilize the Cadian Gate and unleash the full force of the Eye upon the galaxy. The pylons of Cadia, ancient constructs of mysterious origin, had long served as a stabilizing influence on the warp, preventing the Eye from expanding. Abaddon's assault targeted these structures with surgical precision, aiming to collapse the barriers that kept the Eye confined. The culmination of the campaign came in a moment of unparalleled horror. As the Cadian pylons failed, the Eye of Terror began to surge outward, its chaotic energies spilling into real space with cataclysmic force. The Great Rift, a vast tear in the fabric of reality, was born, dividing the galaxy in two and plunging countless worlds into darkness. The Imperium, already strained by millennia of war, found itself teetering on the brink of collapse, its territories severed and its people gripped by fear. The fall of Cadia was both a victory and a tragedy. While Abaddon achieved his goal of unleashing the Eye's power, his forces paid a steep price for their triumph. The final moments of the campaign were marked by acts of extraordinary heroism from the defenders of Cadia, who gave their lives to delay the inevitable. Their sacrifice allowed countless refugees to escape the system, carrying with them the hope of resistance and the determination to fight on. The 13th Black Crusade stands as a defining chapter in the history of the Eye of Terror, a moment when its latent threat erupted into active catastrophe. It demonstrated the strategic genius of Abaddon, the relentless power of chaos, and the resilience of the Imperium in the face of annihilation. Yet it also marked a turning point, signaling that the galaxy would never again be the same. The Eye of Terror, once a brooding menace, became an active participant in the galactic stage, its influence extending far beyond its physical boundaries. The legacy of this event continues to shape the Imperium's response to chaos, reinforcing its belief in the necessity of unyielding vigilance and the Emperor's divine guidance. For the denizens of the Eye, the 13th Black Crusade was a vindication of their power, a reminder that even the mightiest defenses of humanity could fall before the will of the Chaos Gods. And for those who survived, it was a stark warning. The Eye of Terror is not a static scar upon the galaxy, but a living, breathing force, ever hungering for the souls of the unwary. The Eye of Terror's impact on the galaxy cannot be overstated. As the largest and most volatile warp rift in existence, it has profoundly shaped the course of history, altered the balance of power, and left scars across every corner of the Imperium. Its influence is not confined to its immediate surroundings. It radiates outward, touching the lives of countless beings, shaping economies, and influencing strategies on a galactic scale. The Eye is both a physical and metaphysical force, a nexus of chaos that disrupts the very fabric of reality. The most immediate and visible consequence of the Eye is its role as a launch point for chaos incursions. From within its depths, warbands of chaos space marines, demonic hosts, and renegade fleets spill forth, wreaking havoc across Imperial space and beyond. Each incursion drains the Imperium's resources, forcing it to divert troops, ships, and supplies to regions threatened by chaos activity. The constant threat of invasion has shaped the Imperium's military doctrine, leading to the establishment of fortress worlds and naval strongholds near the Eye. Systems like Cadia, before its destruction, existed almost solely to serve as bulwarks against the chaos tide. Beyond the immediate violence, the Eye exerts a subtler but no less devastating influence through the destabilization of warp travel. The Immaterium, already treacherous and unpredictable, becomes far more dangerous near the Eye. Warp storms radiate from its borders, disrupting trade routes, delaying reinforcements, and isolating entire sectors. These disruptions have crippled economies, left worlds vulnerable to attack, and sparked rebellions as desperate populations struggle to survive without vital supplies. Even worlds far from the Eye feel its impact, as the Imperium must divert resources and fleets to manage the chaos it creates. For those who dwell near the Eye, its influence goes beyond the physical. The warp energies that spill from the rift saturate nearby systems, corrupting ecosystems and warping the minds of those exposed for too long. Planets on the Eye's periphery often become tainted, their populations descending into madness or outright rebellion. Some succumb to full-scale demonic infestations, transforming into nightmarish hellscapes that serve as footholds for chaos. For the Imperium, these worlds represent a grim choice: attempt to reclaim them at great cost or condemn them to exterminatus. The Eye's effect on the warp itself extends throughout the galaxy. As the Immaterium bleeds into real space, it strengthens the presence of the Chaos Gods and their demonic minions. Psychic phenomena become more frequent and uncontrollable, posing a dire threat to humanity's survival. Astropaths report increased difficulty in sending messages through the warp, and navigators struggle to find safe routes through the roiling storms. For Psychers, the Eye's influence is a constant danger, amplifying their abilities while increasing the likelihood of possession or catastrophic failure. Religiously and culturally, the Eye has had a profound impact on the Imperium's worldview. The ecclesiarchy and other imperial institutions use the Eye as a symbol of chaos's corrupting power and the need for unwavering faith in the Emperor. Sermons and propaganda frequently portray the Eye as a manifestation of humanity's eternal struggle against sin and heresy. For the common citizen, it is both a source of terror and a rallying point, a reminder of the Imperium's peril and the necessity of its oppressive measures. The Eye's influence extends beyond the Imperium to affect xenospecies as well. The Eldari, whose fall gave birth to the Eye, regard it with a mixture of guilt and horror, seeing it as both a reminder of their greatest failure and a perpetual threat. The Eye's warp energies disrupt the delicate networks of the webway, forcing the Eldari to avoid certain routes and increasing the risk of incursions into their sanctuaries. For the Orks, the Eye is an endless source of conflict and opportunity, as warbands eagerly clash with Chaos forces or launch raids into Imperial territory from its fringes. The Great Rift, born from the Eye of Terror's expansion during the 13th Black Crusade, has further amplified its impact. The galaxy is now split into two halves. The light of the Astronomicon struggles to reach the Imperium Nihilus, leaving countless worlds stranded in darkness. The Imperium's already tenuous grasp on its territories has been weakened further as the Eye's influence seeps into the newly formed rift, creating pockets of uncontrolled chaos throughout the galaxy. Philosophically, the Eye raises unsettling questions about the nature of reality and humanity's place within it. Scholars within the Inquisition and the Adeptus Mechanicus have debated for centuries whether the Eye represents a natural phenomenon, a divine punishment, or something else entirely. These debates often veer into heretical territory, as the very act of questioning the Eye's origins and purpose risks drawing unwanted attention from the Ordo Hereticus. Yet these questions persist, for the Eye defies conventional understanding and challenges the fundamental assumptions upon which the Imperium is built. Despite its horrors, the Eye is not without its allure. For those who reject the Imperium or seek power at any cost, it represents a chance to transcend mortality and achieve godhood. Renegades and heretics flock to the Eye, drawn by promises of wealth, power, and vengeance whispered by the Chaos Gods. Few who enter its depths return unchanged, and those who do are often twisted beyond recognition, their bodies and minds reshaped by the warp's unrelenting energies. In the end, the Eye of Terror is not just a physical phenomenon. It is a force of transformation, a catalyst for change that challenges the galaxy's very foundations. Its existence has shaped the Imperium's military strategies, cultural identity, and philosophical outlook. It is a source of endless conflict and a reminder of the fragility of order in the face of chaos. As long as the Eye endures, its influence will continue to ripple across the galaxy, leaving devastation, corruption, and questions in its wake. The galaxy's future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The Eye of Terror is not a passive scar upon the universe. It is alive, active, and unyielding in its hunger for domination. The Eye of Terror is unique in its scope and nature, a singular phenomenon that blends the physical and immaterial into an ever-shifting landscape of nightmares. Unlike other warp anomalies or rifts scattered throughout the galaxy, the Eye defies categorization and understanding, serving as a crossroads where the Immaterium and real space merge. Its unique aspects make it not only a subject of dread, but also a source of fascination for those who dare to study it, providing glimpses into the warp's chaotic potential and the forces that shape existence itself. One of the most striking features of the Eye is its size. Stretching across thousands of light years, it is the largest known warp rift, dwarfing other warp storms and anomalies. This immense scale means the Eye is more than a single breach between dimensions. It is a region of space where reality itself has been fundamentally altered. Entire star systems lie within its boundaries, some swallowed by the warp entirely, while others persist as isolated remnants of their former selves, suspended in a state of perpetual decay and transformation. Within the Eye, the laws of physics and time are meaningless. Space folds upon itself, creating impossible geometries and labyrinthine pathways that confound even the most experienced navigators. Time flows erratically, with some experiencing centuries within the Eye, while only moments pass in real space, and others finding themselves trapped in unending stasis or rapid aging. This temporal instability makes exploration nearly impossible and creates an environment where the past, present, and future coexist in a chaotic jumble. The Eye is also home to phenomena that exist nowhere else in the galaxy. Warp tides surge through its expanse, vast rivers of raw psychic energy that ebb and flow unpredictably. These tides can engulf entire fleets, tearing ships apart or carrying them to distant regions of the Eye. They are accompanied by psychic storms, where the raw emotions of the warp manifest as destructive forces that obliterate anything in their path. Lightning formed from pure hatred, Hurricanes of despair and gravitational whirlpools fueled by fear are common occurrences, each more devastating than the last. Amidst this chaos, the Eye serves as a crucible for the forces of chaos, a realm where the influence of the four ruinous powers is at its peak. The interior of the Eye is divided into shifting territories, each dominated by one of the Chaos gods. These domains reflect the nature of their respective deities: vast fortresses of brass and fire for Khorne, sickly swamps of decay for Nurgle, labyrinthine realms of shifting illusions for Tzeentch, and grotesque pleasure palaces for Slaanesh. Each region is shaped not only by the will of its ruler, but also by the emotions and thoughts of those who enter, making the Eye an interactive and living entity. Perhaps most unsettling are the countless worlds trapped within the Eye's expanse. These planets, once part of real space, have been transformed into grotesque mockeries of their former selves. Some are frozen in time, eternal reminders of the moment they were consumed by the warp, while others have become battlegrounds for the forces of chaos or the staging grounds for demonic invasions. These planets often serve as testing grounds for heretics and chaos warlords, where they forge their armies, hone their powers, and prepare for their campaigns against the Imperium. One of the Eye's most disturbing aspects is its capacity to warp the minds and bodies of those who dwell within it. Prolonged exposure to the Eye's energies reshapes individuals, enhancing their psychic potential at the cost of their sanity. The warp's influence also extends to the physical, mutating the bodies of its inhabitants into forms that reflect their innermost desires or fears. These transformations are not random but deeply personal, shaped by the chaotic energies that permeate the Eye. For many, this is both a blessing and a curse, granting them power while eroding their humanity. The Eye's boundaries are equally unique, marked by a transition zone where the Immaterium begins to encroach on real space. This region, known as the Periphery, is a place of constant turmoil where warp storms rage and demonic incursions are common. The Periphery acts as a buffer, preventing the Eye's influence from spreading unchecked into the galaxy, but it is also a place of opportunity for those bold enough to explore its edges. Rogue traders, heretics, and inquisitors alike are drawn to the Periphery, seeking ancient relics, forbidden knowledge, or the chance to test their strength against the forces of chaos. Despite its dangers, the Eye is also a place of immense potential. For those who can harness its energies, it offers power beyond imagination. Sorcerers and psychers find their abilities amplified within the Eye, their connection to the warp enhanced to levels unattainable elsewhere. This potential makes the Eye both a treasure trove and a trap, as the same forces that grant power can also consume the unwary, leaving them as lifeless husks or vessels for demonic possession. Finally, the Eye of Terror is a living symbol of the galaxy's fragility. Its existence serves as a reminder that reality is not as stable as it seems, that the boundary between order and chaos is thin and easily breached. The Eye is not merely a passive phenomenon, but an active force, one that influences events across the galaxy and reminds all who gaze upon it of the ever-present threat posed by the Immaterium. It is a place where ambition, fear, and faith collide, shaping the fates of those who dare to approach and casting its shadow over all who dwell in the galaxy. The Eye of Terror is inexorably linked to some of the most infamous and influential figures in the galaxy, individuals whose lives and legacies are shaped by their connection to this chaotic rift. These figures, whether mortal, demonic, or something in between, embody the Eye's power, its corruption, and its impact on the galaxy. Each has left a mark on its history, serving as champions, conquerors, or cautionary tales. One of the most notorious figures tied to the Eye is Abaddon the Despoiler. As the leader of the Black Legion, Abaddon has waged countless wars against the Imperium, using the Eye as both a sanctuary and a base of operations. His mastery over the forces of chaos and his ability to unite disparate warbands under his banner make him the most feared warlord to emerge from the Eye. Abaddon's campaigns, particularly the Black Crusades, have demonstrated the strategic value of the Eye, allowing him to strike deep into Imperial territory before retreating into its depths to regroup and strengthen his forces. The Chaos Gods themselves are the ultimate rulers of the Eye, their will shaping its landscape and its purpose. Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh each command vast portions of the Eye, their influence manifested through demonic legions, corrupted worlds, and the very fabric of the warp. These gods are not merely abstract entities, but active participants in the Eye's events, guiding their followers, manipulating mortal pawns, and battling one another for dominance. Their rivalry and schemes ensure that the Eye remains a place of constant strife, where alliances are fleeting and betrayal is inevitable. The demons that serve these gods are the Eye's most visible inhabitants, and among them, certain individuals stand out. Skarbrand, the Exiled One, is a demon of Khorne whose fury knows no bounds. Cast out by his own god, Skarbrand has found refuge within the Eye, where his wrath fuels endless battles. Kugath Plaguefather, a great unclean one of Nurgle, is another prominent figure, his grotesque experiments with disease and decay carried out in the Eye's festering swamps. The scheming Lord of Change, Kairos Fateweaver, dwells within Tzeentch's domain, weaving plans that span millennia and extend far beyond the Eye's borders. Mortals, too, have become entwined with the Eye's history. The traitor legions who fled into the Eye after their defeat during the Horus Heresy are perhaps the most infamous. These legions, such as the Black Legion, Word-Bearers, and Alpha Legion, have made the Eye their home, using its resources and warp energy to sustain their war against the Imperium. Each legion has its own champions and leaders, from Lorgar's fanatical apostles to the master schemers of the Alpha Legion, whose true motives remain shrouded in mystery. The Eye has also ensnared countless renegades and heretics who seek refuge or power within its depths. Rogue psychers, corrupted planetary governors, and fallen inquisitors have all ventured into the Eye, drawn by its promise of limitless power. While many are consumed or destroyed by its perils, others emerge as formidable adversaries, their minds and bodies reshaped by the warp's influence. These individuals often become pawns of the Chaos Gods, their ambitions twisted to serve the ruinous power's inscrutable goals. The Eldari have their own tragic connections to the Eye, most notably the legendary figure of Eldrad Ulthran. As one of the most powerful and ancient Farseers, Eldrad has long worked to contain the Eye's influence and mitigate the damage caused by his species' role in its creation. His efforts to manipulate events and guide his people often bring him into conflict with the forces of chaos that emanate from the Eye. Eldrad's foresight and cunning have saved countless lives, but they also highlight the ongoing struggle to confront the Eye's legacy. Even within the Imperium, individuals are drawn into the Eye's orbit. Saint Celestine, the living saint, is a symbol of hope who has repeatedly confronted chaos forces that emerge from the Eye. Her miraculous interventions during battles against Abaddon's Black Crusades have inspired countless soldiers and civilians to stand firm against the darkness. Similarly, the enigmatic Inquisitor Eisenhorn, though not directly tied to the Eye, has faced its influence in his battles against heretics and demons, showcasing the constant vigilance required to combat chaos. For the servants of chaos, the Eye is not merely a home, but a proving ground. Aspiring champions venture into its depths to prove their worth, seeking to gain the favor of the Chaos Gods and ascend to demonhood. These trials often involve acts of unimaginable brutality, cunning, or defiance as the warp reshapes them into beings of immense power. Those who fail are either consumed by the Eye or reduced to gibbering chaos spawn, serving as reminders of the price of ambition. The Eye of Terror also harbors figures of legend and myth, whose stories are whispered across the galaxy. Some speak of a nameless warlord who wields a blade forged from the essence of the warp itself, while others tell of a sorcerer who seeks to master time within the Eye's fractured realities. These tales blur the line between truth and fiction, reflecting the Eye's nature as a place where reality and myth converge. The individuals tied to the Eye of Terror are as varied as the forces that shape it, from mortal champions and heretical warlords to the demonic servants of the Chaos Gods. Each plays a role in the Eye's history and its influence on the galaxy, embodying its power, corruption, and mystery. Their stories, though often tragic or horrifying, are a testament to the Eye's capacity to transform, empower, and destroy all who dare to enter its depths. The Eye of Terror is a place of boundless mystery, where the fabric of reality is torn asunder and the Immaterium bleeds into existence. Its secrets, both tantalizing and terrifying, have lured countless explorers, scholars, and would-be conquerors into its depths, often to their doom. These mysteries, shrouded in legend and half-truths, offer glimpses into the Eye's nature, its origins, and its potential role in the fate of the galaxy. Yet, for every revelation, there are countless more questions, making the Eye one of the most enigmatic phenomena in existence. Among the most profound secrets of the Eye is its connection to the Warp and the Chaos Gods. While its origins during the fall of the Eldari are widely accepted, the precise mechanisms of its creation remain unknown. Did the psychic eruption that birthed Slaanesh tear open the veil between dimensions permanently? Or did the warp storm merely amplify a pre-existing weakness in the fabric of reality? Some scholars speculate that the Eye is a natural phenomenon, a cosmic rift that predates even the rise of intelligent life in the galaxy, which the Eldari merely exacerbated. If true, this would suggest that the Eye is not unique, and similar anomalies may exist elsewhere, waiting to be discovered or unleashed. The Eye's internal structure is another source of endless speculation. Reports from those who have ventured into its depths describe a constantly shifting landscape where the rules of time and space are mutable. Some regions are said to contain remnants of ancient civilizations, their ruins preserved or twisted by the warp's energies. Are these the worlds of the Eldari Empire, frozen in the moment of their destruction? Or do they belong to other long-forgotten races consumed by the Eye's expansion? The presence of these worlds raises questions about whether the Eye is merely a destructive force or if it serves a greater purpose, perhaps as a repository of history or as a trap for the unwary. Time within the Eye is notoriously unstable, and this temporal flux has given rise to some of its most perplexing mysteries. Stories abound of ships lost to the warp for centuries re-emerging from the Eye, their crews unchanged and unaware of the time that has passed. Conversely, some who enter the Eye return aged beyond recognition or recount experiences that seem to span lifetimes despite mere days passing in real space. These anomalies have led some to theorize that the Eye is a nexus of temporal paradoxes where the past, present, and future converge. Could the Eye hold the secrets to manipulating time itself, a power coveted by both mortals and gods? One of the Eye's most enduring mysteries is the nature of its relationship with the Chaos Gods. While the Eye is undoubtedly their stronghold, there is debate over whether they control it entirely or are themselves influenced by its chaotic energies. Some believe that the Eye serves as a physical manifestation of the gods' collective will, a living embodiment of their power and rivalry. Others argue that the Eye is an independent entity, a force of chaos that even the gods cannot fully command. This latter theory suggests that the Eye may have an agenda of its own, one that transcends the ambitions of any single being or faction. The Eye is also rumored to house artifacts of unimaginable power, relics of the Eldari's glory days or creations of the Chaos Gods themselves. These artifacts, if they exist, could change the course of galactic history, yet they are guarded by the Eye's most dangerous inhabitants. Legends speak of blades forged from the essence of the warp, devices capable of bending reality, and even fragments of ancient texts that could unlock the secrets of the Immaterium. The search for these treasures has driven many to madness, as the Eye's ever-shifting nature ensures that no two expeditions encounter the same landscape. Perhaps the most unsettling mystery of the Eye is its apparent sentience. Many who have ventured near or into the Eye report a sense of being watched, as though the rift itself is aware of their presence. This sensation is often accompanied by visions or whispers tailored to the individual's fears, desires, or regrets. Is this merely the influence of the warp, reflecting the psyches of those who enter, or is the Eye a conscious entity capable of manipulating those within its grasp? If the latter is true, it raises the chilling possibility that the Eye is not just a place, but a being, one whose goals remain unfathomable. There are also whispers of hidden realms within the Eye, places that defy even the Chaos Gods. Some accounts speak of vast voids where the warp's influence is inexplicably absent, creating eerie pockets of stillness amidst the chaos. Others describe labyrinths of crystalline structures, their origins unknown but radiating a power unlike anything seen elsewhere. Could these be remnants of a civilization that predates the Chaos Gods, or are they creations of the warp itself formed from the dreams or nightmares of those who enter? The relationship between the Eye and the Great Rift adds yet another layer of complexity to its mysteries. When the Great Rift tore the galaxy asunder, it was as though the Eye expanded its influence, merging with the new warp storms to create an even larger zone of instability. Did the Eye play a role in the Rift's formation, or was it merely a passive observer? Some speculate that the Eye's energies served as a catalyst for the Rift, amplifying the psychic disturbances that split the galaxy. If so, what does this suggest about the Eye's true capabilities and its potential to shape the future? Ultimately, the Eye of Terror remains an enigma, a place where questions outnumber answers and each revelation leads to deeper mysteries. It is a rift in reality, a crucible of chaos, and a gateway to the unknown, its secrets guarded by forces both mortal and divine. For those who dare to seek the truth, the Eye offers untold possibilities, but also the certainty of peril. Its mysteries are as infinite as the warp itself, ensuring that it will continue to fascinate, terrify, and confound all who encounter it. The Eye of Terror stands as a grim monument to the galaxy's fragility and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. It is more than just a tear in reality. It is a living wound, a testament to hubris, ambition, and the consequences of unchecked power. For over 10,000 years, the Eye has loomed on the galactic stage, shaping the fate of civilizations, inspiring both fear and defiance, and serving as a constant reminder of the cost of failure. To the Imperium, the Eye of Terror is an enduring symbol of vigilance and sacrifice. Its presence has justified millennia of relentless warfare, the establishment of fortress worlds, and the unyielding enforcement of faith in the Emperor. It has forged heroes and martyrs, those who have stood against its tide and paid the ultimate price to protect humanity. The fall of Cadia, the countless Black Crusades, and the incalculable loss of lives all underline the price the Imperium pays to contain the chaos that spills from its depths. Yet, the Eye is also a paradoxical source of strength for the Imperium. It unites humanity in shared purpose, giving them a clear enemy against which to rally. The threat of chaos has forged the Imperium into a vast war machine, one that, despite its inefficiencies and brutal measures, has withstood the test of time. Without the Eye, the Imperium might have grown complacent, its vigilance eroded by the illusion of peace. The Eye ensures that no such illusions can take root, forcing humanity to remain ever alert, ever prepared. For the forces of chaos, the Eye is both a sanctuary and a weapon, a realm where they can gather strength, plot their schemes, and launch devastating incursions. It is the ultimate expression of the Chaos God's power, a place where their influence is absolute and their champions thrive. Yet, even for chaos, the Eye is not without peril. Its volatile nature and the ceaseless rivalries of the gods ensure that it is as much a battleground as a haven. Those who dwell within its borders must constantly struggle to survive, proving their worth in a crucible of endless conflict. The Xenos races of the galaxy, too, are not untouched by the Eye's existence. For the Aldari, it is a haunting reminder of their greatest failure, a scar born of their pride and excess. For the Orks, it is a source of endless conflict, a playground for their love of war. And for others, such as the Tau and Necron, it is a distant but ominous force, its true implications not yet fully understood. The Eye's influence has grown even more profound in the wake of the Great Rift. No longer confined to its original boundaries, its chaotic energies have spilled across the galaxy, plunging half of the Imperium into darkness. This has ushered in a new era of uncertainty, where the line between real space and the Immaterium blurs, and the forces of chaos grow bolder with each passing year. The galaxy now faces a threat unlike any before, one that challenges not only the Imperium, but all life within its borders. In many ways, the Eye of Terror is a reflection of the galaxy itself, a place of endless conflict, boundless potential, and devastating consequences. It embodies the eternal struggle between light and darkness, hope and despair, stability and entropy. Its existence poses questions that remain unanswered. Is the Eye a natural consequence of the warp's presence in the galaxy, or is it the result of mortal folly? Can it ever be closed, or is its existence an immutable reality? And most hauntingly, is the Eye merely a harbinger of greater chaos yet to come? As long as the Eye of Terror endures, it will remain a central force in the galaxy's narrative, shaping its history and its future. It is a place of darkness and destruction, but also of resilience and defiance. Those who gaze upon it see not only the horrors of chaos, but the unyielding determination of those who stand against it. In the grim darkness of the far future, the Eye is a constant, its presence a reminder that, no matter how dire the circumstances, the fight for survival and the struggle for hope continue. It is the shadow of a fractured galaxy, a wound that may never heal, but also a testament to the unbreakable will of those who dare to confront it.